Sir Winston Leonard Spencer Churchill was born into a wealthy family on November 30th, 1874, in Blenheim Palace, Oxfordshire, England.
He went off to war very early, first as a correspondent and then as a combatant. He had this dramatic escape from prison camp in the Boer Wars in South Africa. That was printed, and he became a kind of national figure at a very early age.
Just before World War I, in 1911, he was the First Lord of the Admiralty. In 1915, he resigned his position in the government and went to France to fight on the front lines until his unit was disbanded in 1916.
After World War I, he was out of favor with the British. He'd made a decision about Gallipoli, about going ashore there and having that invasion, trying to cut off the Turks. It turned out to be a disaster. So he retreated to his country estate, wrote, lectured, stayed attuned to what was going on.
He was something of a maverick politician, and not everyone got along with Winston. It took the 1930s, with the international circumstances of the rise of Nazi Germany, that made people consider Winston Churchill a potential national leader.
When World War II began to rise out of the darkness of Nazi Germany, and Great Britain knew that it was imperiled, there were lots of Tories who said that Churchill needs to be brought back into government.
Churchill returned as First Lord of the Admiralty the day Britain declared war on Germany, September 3rd, 1939. Less than a year later, he became Prime Minister.
Churchill brought a great clarity of thinking of the reality of the threat that Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany meant, not just to that island nation, but to the world. He also brought an ability to mobilize the English language as a fighting force. In his speeches, in his radio interviews, in his reports to the nation, he gave them hope.
In the summer of 1940, Hitler launched what Churchill termed the Battle of Britain. At the time, it was the largest sustained aerial bombing campaign in history. In London alone, more than 1 million houses were destroyed, and more than 20,000 civilians were killed.
Churchill offered full support for the Soviet Union in June of 1941, when Nazi Germany attacked the USSR. He famously said, "If Hitler invaded hell, I would make a favorable reference to the devil in the House of Commons."
The story is that when he got the word that Pearl Harbor had been bombed, he was joyful, not because the United States had been attacked, but because he knew